This is Super Yacht News. In association with Go Earth, navigating boat buyers to better deals. Hi, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Super Yacht News. We've been away for a while. We have still been very busy. We'll go into that towards the end of the video. We've got some news for you, some exclusive news you'll hear first here. The 136 metre, 446 foot super yacht Flying Fox has been sold to an unknown buyer. The news comes from a very reliable source who's given us a lot of information over the years. The sale was a private sale, so there were no brokers involved, which is interesting. That's the second yacht sale we've talked about in the last month where the vessels have been sold privately. In other words, the owner just sold it to somebody else directly. Now the new owner, we believe, is from the United Arab Emirates. We don't know the name of the new owner as of yet. Now, Flying Fox, you probably already know this vessel, built by Lursen. I think it was delivered in 2018, 136 meters, as I said, a massive vessel. The yacht was formerly owned by Russian businessman Dmitry Kemenchik, who also owns Moscow Airport, amongst other things. It was never actually sanctioned. It was never placed on any Western sanctions. Certainly wasn't placed on any sanctions in the UK or in the EU or in the US. The yacht was originally managed by the now liquidated yacht management company Imperial Yachts. And as a result of the association with that company, Flying Fox was actually directly added to the sanctions list in 2022, I think it was. And the vessel was actually also temporarily detained in the Dominican Republic for about a month. There was a lot of people going down the marina there to film it because it'd been stuck there for that time. People thought the US officials were seen on board as well, so people thought it was going to be seized, but it wasn't. It was released in the middle of the night for some reason. We never really got to the bottom of why it suddenly got released. And the vessel headed across the Atlantic, went straight to Turkey to go check in Turkey, and it stayed there for over 2 years, laid up there. Like I said, Imperial Yachts got sanctioned, and also the CEO of Imperial Yachts also got sanctioned, and the yacht disassociated themselves with that company, and eventually it was removed from the sanctions list, and the vessel went back into the charter market. Now that vessel it was a very famous charter yacht. Beyonce chartered it, so there's been a lot of celebrities chartered that vessel before the sanctions, of course. And anyway, the vessel returned to the charter market, and now the vessel's been sold. Now, Dmitry Kemenchik, who ordered that boat, hasn't used it for probably 3 years. Probably got something to do with the reason why he decided to sell it, because he's not likely to be able to use it, even though he's not sanctioned. He's not going to want to head to Europe in that vessel, which is where most of the Russian yachts like to go, right? So, and that's where Flying Fox was until it was forced to leave. We've got various footage of it in La Ciotat and in Nice in south of France. And the vessel eventually disappeared to Turkey with a lot of other Russian yachts as well, including Eclipse, which is also out in the same place, and other vessels owned by Roman Abramovich, which is interesting because we're going to talk about him next. Abramovich's yacht Eclipse has changed flag states. Abramovich has a fleet of yachts, and this is the flagship of his fleet. Eclipse is the largest yacht, one of the largest yachts in the world, the largest yacht he owns, and he's owned it since 2010. And the vessel was registered with Bermuda, as with all his vessels were registered with Bermuda. But in 2022, when all of his vessels fled to Turkey, he had 2 in Antigua, Halo and Garçon. And they also were allowed to leave Antigua, and they headed to Turkey also. They changed their flags on the way over to the Cook Islands, and now his flagship has also changed to the Cook Islands as well. So it's most likely all of the other vessels are going to do this, follow the same suit. And his boat's actually been laid up in Turkey as well since leaving Barcelona a day before he was sanctioned. Shocker. Interestingly, next story is connected as well. Le Grand Bleu, a yacht formerly owned by Roman Abramovich, and that yacht was actually in the newspapers years ago because there was a story that he lost that yacht in a bet to somebody who worked with, Eugene Schwidler. an associate of his. And he actually, Roman Abramovich actually sued a UK newspaper for that story, saying it was not a true story, and he actually won that case. So, but interestingly, he used to own this yacht also, and this vessel is owned by, like I said, Eugene Schvidler, and the vessel's been laid up in Puerto Rico since 2022 when he was added to sanctions lists in the UK, and I don't believe he was sanctioned by the US, but his vessel was laid up there, probably because his money was blocked in banks and stuff like that. His aircraft was detained in the UK, and it's still there now. He actually went to the UK Supreme Court to try and get those sanctions overturned, because he actually has a UK citizenship and US citizenship, as well as his Russian citizenship, and he tried to get it overturned. He failed, and his aircraft is still, as far as I know, his aircraft is still detained in the UK. But his vessel, his vessel Le Grand Bleu, it's been laid up in Puerto Rico, and it left there last week and headed to the US. It's in Tampa Bay now, in the same shipyard, I believe, where Petrol went. You remember the vessel that fell over in the shipyard in Scotland? I believe it's in the same place. It's gone there probably for a refit. So it's interesting. We couldn't find any information why it's suddenly moved. We tried to see if he'd been removed from any sanctions. Like I said, we checked, he's not on the US sanctions list. So it's probable that he's able to move his funds again, and he's been able to bring his vessel out of that laid up period. Very interesting. If anyone's got any information on that, we'd be interested to know about it. And we'll move away from this, the sanctions stuff now. If you might remember, a few months ago, we did a story about the SS Delphine, built in 1921, I believe, in the US. And this is a cracking super yacht. It's got steam boilers still installed in this yacht. The vessel was put up for auction. Well, there was an auction scheduled to start, I think it was in February, and just before it was due to start, they cancelled that auction, and we heard that the owner was taking control of the yacht. Well, we've just had a confirmation through that the vessel has been returned to the owner. The owner is now in control of it. Hasn't moved, it's still in the shipyard, but we got information through that the vessel is back in the owner's hands. We also heard that former members of the crew, you might remember the story, we said that the chief engineer had been there for 20 years and the captain had been there for a long time as well, and they only left when the vessel, you know, ended up in this precarious situation. Well, they've been asked to return to the vessel now, at least some of them have. That's a great story. We talked about the chief engineer and how he'd been trained by his father, who was the chief engineer before, which I thought is a great story, and it also points to a great owner, because the owners, you know, you have a lot of turnover when you work on a yacht where the owners don't treat the crew right. For them to be there so long, it's quite unusual in this industry. So yeah, so that's good news. The vessel is back with the owner. Hopefully we'll see that vessel out and about in the next year or two when it's finished its refit. It's in quite a bad state, I believe. But yeah, we'd love to do more on that story. If the owner is watching, or if he's interested, we'd love to come and do a tour on board, obviously when it's finished. All right, well, I'll finish. I'm losing the light very quickly. I'll finish with a quick update on the Bayesian. This is the salvage operation going on behind me. It's not going on right now. They finished for the day. But a quick update on it. The work is progressing. They have finished the phase that they were in. They were using this giant air wand or air blower or something. I don't know what it's called, but it's a giant yellow pipe that blasts air and water through it. And they were using this to move debris from the hull, I believe, and maybe to make space underneath so they can put this frame onto the hull so they can right the vessel. That phase appears to have been finished now. The last time we saw them use it was on Monday, and they've not been using that since. So it seems like they've moved on to the next phase. They've been using a big bucket, you know, like you get on an excavator. They're using it on a crane. We saw them lift it out of the water earlier today, and they've been dropping things into the water as well. So it's hard to know what they're doing from the surface and from this distance as well. People who've been asking about the live feed, we have had a lot of issues here with internet. It's an absolute nightmare. We've tried various different things. You wouldn't believe the amount of work that's gone in to try and get a decent internet. I know what you're thinking, why don't you get Starlink? Well, we have Starlink now, and it didn't resolve the problem. The problem is when you're streaming something live, you need a very high up beam. The down beam is great, we've got 160 megs, but the up is only like 5 or 6 megs, and we really need more than that. We need like 30 to 40 up, and we're not getting it. So we can't do the live stream the way we'd like to. There's still going to be a delay, but it's, you know, it's that or nothing. So for those who are not interested in live stream, we understand. We're going to still bring updates as we're doing right now. We believe that the vessel's going to be raised in the next week or so. Don't ask me why I know that. I don't have any specific information to say that that is the case. I just think that they were ahead of schedule until the poor incident with the diver who was killed or who died when there was an underwater explosion. They were ahead of schedule then. That delayed them for 6 days. It's been, you know, 2 weeks since then. So I would say that they're back on schedule now. And I think that probably in the next 7 to 10 days, this is going to be, the vessel's going to be back up to the surface. So look out for that. Look out for the live stream. Obviously, we'll bring you breaking news as soon as we have it. Normally we do a Friday yacht spot, but it's not Friday, it's Saturday. So we're going to do a Saturday yacht spot. We've got a couple of boats for you here. First one here we've got is Motor Yacht Blue. This behemoth was spotted in Cape Town in South Africa by Maritime Watch at Cape Town. The yacht is a 160 meter or 524 foot yacht built by Lursen, of course. I think it was 2022 it was completed. The yacht has room for 48 guests in 24 cabins. 48 guests means that it is not registered in the large yacht code because the limit is 36, so it must be registered as a passenger vessel. That's if those numbers are correct, of course. Has a crew of 80 crew on this yacht. A gross tonnage of just under 15,000 gross tons. And the yacht was built, like I said, in 2022, has a range of 5,000 nautical miles, has a commercially certified helipad, and it has 2 helipads on board. And the yacht has a top speed of 21.5 knots, which is impressive for such a massive yacht. Next on the list, I'm losing the lights so quickly, I'm speeding up. Next on the list is Motor Yacht Synthesis. It's a 74 meter yacht built by Amels in 2021. Has room for 12 guests, 19 crew, and a speed of 14 knots. This is a charter yacht, can be yours for 1 week for the bargain of 830,000 euros per week. Unfortunately, we didn't get the name of the person who sent this in. If you're watching, please get in touch. We'll give you credit in a future video. And last, to send you off for the weekend, this footage was sent in. Also, we don't know who sent this in, and we don't know where this is, but it was entitled Italian Health and Safety. You can see this yacht, this new yacht hull is being towed or is being transported through a city in Italy or a town in Italy, and they didn't even move any people out of the way. There's people still sitting at tables and stuff, which is quite incredible. Only in Italy would that happen. So yeah, I don't know where it is, but if I had to guess, I would say Via Reggio because there's so many yacht manufacturers in that area. All right, guys, I'll leave it there. As you can see, it's completely dark now. I'll leave it there. Please be sure to keep watching. The live feed should be back tomorrow, Sunday. So please be sure to stay and watch for further updates, and have a great weekend. All right, guys. And I think it's bank holiday here on Monday. So if it's a bank holiday where you are, have a great holiday as well. All right, guys. Bye-bye.